Let's look at the landscape of the Western Ghats in the 17th century. This rugged stretch of the Sahyadri mountain range, with its rocky peaks and steep drops, was an unlikely place for an empire to be born. Down on the flatlands surrounding these mountains, massive, heavily armed forces from the Deccan Sultanates and the Mughal Empire dominated the region. If the vastly outnumbered Marathas tried to meet those massive armies head-to-head on an open plain, they would be wiped out almost instantly. To make matters worse, the local Maratha warrior chiefs were completely fragmented. Instead of uniting against a common enemy, they served as hired commanders for different sultans, fighting each other in exchange for temporary land grants. When a young leader named Shivaji emerged, he saw that raw bravery on the battlefield wouldn't be enough to secure independence. To survive against overwhelming odds, he had to engineer a highly adaptable, unified system of government from the ground up. He started by turning the extreme geography of the Western Ghats into a strategic weapon. Shivaji captured and reinforced a massive network of hill forts. These structures operated as highly active logistical hubs. They secured supply lines, controlled trade routes, and served as secure bases for sudden guerrilla attacks. Historical texts like the Ajnapatra, written by Shivaji's finance minister, Ramachandra Pant Amatya, explicitly define these forts as the absolute core of the state. Without them, the kingdom would collapse under an invasion. While the forts remained static, the army had to be incredibly mobile. The Maratha cavalry was divided into two tiers, the state-equipped Bargirs and the self-equipped Shiladars. But crucially, Shivaji broke with tradition and promoted commanders based entirely on their battlefield merit rather than their bloodline. By linking impenetrable geographic strongholds with a fast, merit-based cavalry, Shivaji built a military machine that could strike quickly, retreat safely to the mountains, and slowly exhaust massive empires. But a sprawling network of heavily armed forts created a dangerous internal problem. Any local commander could easily decide to rebel and run their fort as an independent warlord. To prevent rebellion, Shivaji established the Ashtapradhan, an 8-member council with specialized portfolios. Underneath, administration was mapped from local mausas up to provincial prants. He maintained control by abolishing land grants, instead paying administrators a regular salary from the central treasury. By controlling the money and regularly transferring officials from post to post, this bureaucracy structurally prevented any single person from building a local power base and rebelling against the state. Of course, running an entire civil administration and maintaining hundreds of forts required a massive, constant stream of revenue. To secure cash flow, the Marathas taxed external territories. This chart shows the levies, a 25% Chauth and a 10% Sardashmukhi. While sometimes portrayed as chaotic looting, the reality of these collections was a highly bureaucratic process. These were formalized, negotiated protection agreements. Neighboring provinces paid these taxes, and in return, the Marathas provided military stability and explicitly agreed not to interfere in the province's internal administration. The Chauth and Sardashmukhi became the financial engine of the state. They allowed the Maratha military to expand its reach and fund its administration without draining the resources of its own people. These 3 pillars, the fort-based guerrilla military, the salaried civil administration, and the negotiated external revenue system, interlocked seamlessly. When Shivaji died in 1680, the state did not collapse with him. Because the institutions were so well designed, the Marathas sustained a war of resistance against the Mughal Empire for decades under successive leaders. We can see the echoes of this design in how modern nations operate today. Ideas like specialized ministries, centralized treasuries, and merit-based military promotions are the standard framework for keeping a large government accountable. The rise of the Marathas shows how a highly organized state can overcome seemingly impossible odds. By matching their military tactics directly to their geography and building a government that prioritized accountability, they transformed a fractured region into a massive pan-Indian power.